Hi everyone, I just wanted to share a few thoughts about the solar eclipse we have coming up this weekend on the 21st of September. Might be slightly different depending on which time zone you're in. But yeah, there's it's really quite interesting. So this is actually the second new moon, because the solar eclipse is just a supercharged new moon that we've had this year. So August 23rd, we had a new moon at 0 Virgo, and this solar eclipse is going to be at 29 degrees of Virgo, that anaretic last degree. So these two new moons, lunations, are really bookending everything that's Virgo in our lives. And this particular eclipse is a dragon's tail eclipse, so it's conjunct the south node, which suggests moving forward rather than back, whilst carrying or trying to carry the very best of ourselves, the very best of all our Virgo traits rather than the shadow. And what's even more interesting is this solar eclipse is the tail of a kite configuration. It's opposite Saturn, which has newly moved into Pisces, or retrograded back into Pisces. So imagine the tail of a kite, okay? Think of all the thoughts, the strings that might hold you back, or that are grounding you too much, preventing you from soaring and spreading your wings. Think about the daily routines that no longer serve you or control you too much, unhealthy thinking patterns, or even just thinking too small. Think about unhealthy leadership collectively and personally, yeah? Think about how you lead your own life. And because everything Virgo is being bookended, it's like a great big cosmic clear out, isn't it? It's almost like, we're draining or sieving the last dirty used water out of our lives. And I say that in reference to Saturn going back into Pisces. So, as with eclipses, they can be full of exciting opportunity, but they can also bring pressure and a sense of crises too. And I think for some of us, and I'm thinking particularly of the vast generation out there who have Pluto in the very last degrees of Virgo, I'm one of those. You might be feeling a bit of pressure, or like you're in a tight spot. Like you're trying to squeeze through a tight space, or trying to get around two corners at the same time. And I was really feeling this, and I had this urge to, I don't know, I was just sort of sifting through something to watch a few days ago, and I ended up on National Geographic, and there was a film about caving. And this expert caving team were trying to navigate down through the deepest cave in the world, which is in Mexico. And it got to the point where they were sending the absolute expert cavers through these tiny, tiny little crevices created by rock falls, and they were squeezing an arm through at a time, a shoulder through at a time. And I was sat there feeling incredibly claustrophobic, and I was starting to hyperventilate a little bit. And I watched, and I was like, they can't go back. The only way is forward. The only way is forward. They just had to keep squeezing and wriggling forward. And they did emerge into the most incredible cavern in the next kind of stage in the cage descent. But there was no choice but to keep going forward. Yeah. And then just a couple of nights ago, I was looking for something to read. I was really quite restless, and I went and looked at my son's bookcase, because he's got quite an impressive bookcase, and I pulled out one of his childhood books, The Weird Stone of Zingingham. It's quite hard to pronounce. And there's a section in that book where the children are trying to escape from evil that's following them, and they go down into a cave system, and they literally do the same as I just described. They're squeezing through these tunnels. Some of them are waterlogged with literally an inch of air to breathe. And again, that sense of claustrophobia, but there's no, you just can't turn back. You've got to keep squeezing forward to get to where you need to be. So for any of you feeling like that, it's probably quite collective as well. And the other kind of scenario or imagery I had was of there's a lot of energy, you know, and when we're squeezing through tight spots, we don't necessarily quite know where we're going to emerge. And I just kept thinking of a cork just sort of exploding out of a champagne bottle, and you never quite know which direction the cork's going in, nor which direction the spray of the champagne's going to go. So many opportunities. So there's just a few personal thoughts, but yeah, there's that sense of out with the old and with the new. There's, you know, new teeth pushing out the old, and the universe is offering so much new potential. But when change comes, we want to try and be in the best possible shape, don't we? Yeah. But sometimes we need to tidy ourselves up or tidy our lives up to get into that best possible shape. And I think the good thing about this eclipse is the eclipse itself and Saturn, they're both in mutable signs. And that's the opposition that is triggering the energies of the kite that we have, and that mutable energy will bring some flexibility and perhaps the time to reflect and then refine the next steps forward. So it's a case of editing, clean, keep lightening your load in order to move forward into that next new chapter or era, if you like. For some of us, it might feel like it's the last chance saloon. You know, there might be deadlines, whether they're imposed on us or we're imposing them on ourselves. If they're self-imposed, try to be flexible with them. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, all right? And for some more context, the last time we had a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo was back in September 2006, which was another Dragon's Tail eclipse, actually. And I was looking back to see what had happened around that time. And on the 7th of September 2006, Tony Blair, the current Prime Minister of the UK at that time, announced that he was going to resign or step down within the next 12 months. And that was a significant moment in British political history. And he actually did resign in June 2007, 9 months after that announcement. And, you know, if you're following the news here in the UK, you know, it's being stated that May 2026 might actually be a deadline for Starmer's leadership. So that would be interesting to follow. But please do reflect back to the autumn of 2006 in your own life, and that might bring you some insight and context around this current eclipse. So my final words, just try not to impose your own deadlines at the moment. Just keep wriggling forward inch by inch, and eventually you will emerge into your own next chapter. And, you know, trust that if this eclipse does feel like one door is potentially closing, there's going to be several more doors opening just around the corner. Take care. Bye-bye.